What is up? It is Andy coming to you on a holiday Monday. Did you know it was a holiday? Don't lie. Don't lie. Do you know today was a holiday, or did you check that NHL schedule saying I could be out of my mind? But I think there are multiple day games on this schedule. If you thought that, you would be indeed correct. It's not just one holiday. There are many holidays today. What holiday do you think it is? Are you watching this right now in the middle of France? I have some huge French guy or girl, a huge French woman watching these videos, wondering, what holiday is it today? What holiday is it today? Well, the answer to that depends on where you are. In the U.S., there are two simultaneous holidays today. Oh, is it one of those things every day is a holiday? No, in Canada, it's a whole separate holiday. In Canada, raise your hand if you knew this one, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. Did they make this up in like 1981? Come on, I've never heard about Canadian Thanksgiving. And don't just say, oh, what are you? I was with multiple I have donkey friends, but then I have real people I know. I was with the real people last night. And I said, guys, seriously, this may sound stupid, but I don't know what Canadian Thanksgiving is. They said, they don't have that. That's us. I'm like, no, they have it. And I think it's tomorrow. I think tomorrow is Canadian Thanksgiving. Nobody knew what it was. Nobody knows. I don't think the Canadians know what it is. Honestly, I feel like there was a point Canadians were just short on holidays, and they're like, yo, we need a holiday, man. They just looked over at us in November. They're like, yeah, let's just take that one, and we'll throw it on a different day. We slap a Canadian on it. Oh, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. When is it? And they throw it on a holiday Monday in the U.S., which now there are two of them. It's Indigenous Mondays, something like that. But if you can't tell by my nose and my skin pigment and my hair, in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story. So it's Columbus Day, Canadian Thanksgiving, or Indigenous Monday. I don't give a rat's ass about all three. What I do care about is this slate of Monday games. We have day games, afternoon games, early evening games, night games. We have all sorts of games. And my guess is you had no clue there were any games. You're probably watching this at 3 o'clock. The first game's already over. So let me try to cater some of my sniffs to the later games. But I will talk about that in just a bit, because this is week 2. If you've come back, congratulations. You didn't quit the course. You didn't try to transfer to the easier major. You now want to follow up on Snakeonomics. You want to keep learning, but you watched like opening night. You're like, I don't get it. I played the big slick line. I played the 2 points for Kempe with the point for Kuzmenko and the Kopitar assist, and it didn't work out. This seems stupid. Yeah, it's cool to see plus 675, but when it hits, when does that happen? All I see is a loss. And then I played it the second day. And then what happened again? Kings, second game, lost again. Now I'm just sitting here. I have 2 losses on that whole line. But then what happened game 3? What happened with that plus 675, plus 700, plus 800, whatever it made it to by then? Oh, you won. So that combo won game 3, which means, now let me do some math. If I put 100 on it, oh, I lost. I put 100, oh my God, I'm down to 100. Oh, I hit the plus 675, I'm up plus 475. That's what this season is. A race between how many times you lose those combos and how far they can stay ahead. And I can assure you, nearly every combo, we're always available to stay ahead in the long run. Remember when we lost on the fastball, Suzuki, Caulfield? Oh my God, what are we ever going to do? Oh my God, they hit the very next 2 games. This is what happens. You stay ahead. I mean, even last year, you guys remember, or at least you guys on the Patreon remember, where we're putting in all these combos. Backlund and Coleman on the Calgary Flames. They may have lost every single time for 4 months. They had an 8-game stretch where they hit like 6 times and everything was washed out and they turned into a winning combo. That's the beauty of it. That's what I'm going to keep stressing to you guys. I try to give you good Snakeonomics plays, start you in the plus money, and then build on that with line combos. It will lose here. Yes. It will lose there. Yes. But it's in the aggregate, which is the best way to win consistently in the NHL. So consistently, unfortunately, that a few of you who came over to the Patreon and many of you last year, you already, in one short week, You were up like 30 units, as was the case so many times with my full spreadsheet over on the Patreon, and you already got canned by Bet365. I feel for you. I really do. And you look to me like I can call someone at Bet365. These people probably despise me. I've sent all you guys over there with these ridiculous combos. You're smacking them in their face. You're putting them out of business. They hate me. I can't do anything about it. I feel for you, which is why I want to talk to some donkeys out there who haven't had that happen to them. This is going to sound like I'm making fun of you. It's the best news you've ever heard in your life. And that is, if you are a donkey bettor and you are a parlay pirate and you're looking for a rags to riches story every single time you put in a bet and you happen to use Bet365, you are one of the luckiest people in the US, Canada, whatever holiday you're celebrating. If that's you, you've been betting on Bet365 and you've been a donkey bettor, add another holiday to today, because that is the best kind of holiday it could ever be for you. Why? Because now you literally are wearing like a disguise. You're wearing a donkey mask and your account is in the clear. It's in camouflage. And if you ripped all these line combo bets, you fly under the radar because your resume, fortunately / unfortunately, is littered with donkey bets. So you will never pop up on their radar. Unfortunately, some people on the Patreon, they're ripping $100 combos. They don't have a donkey resume, and boom, they got canned just like that. A side thing outside of all the hockey stuff, some people need to hear this and they're shocked. You're not allowed to consistently win on any sports book. It's just the God's honest truth. It's unfortunate. Hopefully one day people take them to court and say you can't just shut down people's account. But you can let everybody know in the comments. Patreon members, let people know in the comments what happened to you last season, this season. Good news, we're winning stacks. Bad news, they don't want you winning stacks, and we'll try to stop you from winning stacks. And I'll leave it at that because that's a convo for someone else. I don't want to talk about these things. I'd rather talk about some hockey thing, like a couple more Snakeonomics plays. And who knows, maybe I'll even talk about a couple of underdogs because that's what I want. Forget about all that stuff. Skip to the underdogs, man. Let's talk about some good point prop values. Some ones that are still showing us a great price because they haven't come through so far. You look at teams who have struggled in the first couple of games. You look at the St. Louis Blues, held to 1 goal, game 1. Oh my God, I don't want to take any of these guys. You have good prices pretty much on the top line and the second line. What happens? Top line comes through and for multi-point performances. The Blues are one of these teams, kind of like the Dallas Stars. It's not a rigid power play 1, power play 2 system. Their power play 2 also gets hot at times, and they kind of divvy up that time. So I'm not going to devalue a member of the St. Louis Blues second line simply because they're on power play 2, which brings me to a great plus 115 price that we're seeing on D.Holloway. He had a breakout year last season, and it was with the same line mates that he's currently with right now. You're talking about Jordan Kyrou, one of the best forwards on the team, and then Braden Shen. This is a line that has solid chemistry. They had many multi-point performances last year, and we benefited from those performances, and I'm looking towards him to come through here. He's been held pointless so far. I obviously don't like that this is against Vancouver, who seemingly is trying to crust their way to some victories. We've seen a low-scoring win and a low-scoring loss for them. I don't like these low-scoring games and Demko playing well, but still, I think the point prop price is worth it for D.Holloway, which is why I'm going to take his point prop at plus 115, and then also throw him on there with Jordan Kyrou, bringing you about north of plus 200 for that point prop parlay. And just how I mentioned, if you stuck with Kopitar and Kempe, they're paying off as a combo in the long run and will continue to do so. The same thing applies to those Canadians. Before I left you on Friday, I said run Slavkovsky back out there. He got a point, Suzuki got points, Caulfield got points, and then in the very next game, Suzuki, Caulfield get a point, the fastball hits. And why do I bring that up? Is because there's another combo like that. They're right in that fastball variety, and I rate them above Suzuki and Caulfield. I do. I know Suzuki and Caulfield come through so much, but the Braden Point Jake Guentzel combo, when they play on the same line with Kucherov, and obviously on that top power play with Kucherov, to me, that's going to be one of my all-time favorites. I played them while they were in the plus all season last year. Then, eventually, they made their way to the minus. You saw in game 1 this year, what was it, 4 points for Braden Point, 2 for Guentzel, 2 for Kucherov. When this line's, I mean, it is so much of the Tampa Bay Lightning's offense now that they just have to do so much of the heavy lifting, and they're so nasty as a line that, I mean, if I'm telling you before the season started, you're talking about a team that's fighting for the number 1 overall pick in Boston, facing this Tampa team, and I can take Point and Guentzel both for a point, coming in at like plus 110. That's just Suzuki Caulfield, Point Guentzel. You click those, even on this slate, like Keller Schmaltz, that's another one. You throw those out there plus 110, I'm taking them every time. Then once they start approaching the minus, no, I'm going to be out. There's another guy like that. There's another combo where typically you're not even going to get them in the plus. And that is Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. I mean, normally Jack Hughes, his line is set at 1.5 points. This is a guy who was literally in Hart Trophy contention a couple years ago. And he's kind of a big stat rat. He'll love taking those empty net assists. But regardless, we're early enough in the season where I'm not going to do him and Bratt for plus 105. But Jack Hughes, who is defaulting into more of a pass-first type of player. You see that a lot with these playmakers. You know, they shoot a little bit more early, and as each year goes on, they try to set up those perfect plays, and they don't tend to shoot as much as they do in their first couple of years. I think we're entering that phase with Jack Hughes. But as a guy who had to put in these combos all last season, I can assure you, when I had to add Jack Hughes for an assist on my combo sheet, it was very rare I got to see a plus. Right now, I'm seeing a plus. Who are they playing? A shutdown defensive team? Like, I know you're worried about the Canucks over there. No, you're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets, which was a fantasy factory when they had those home games in Columbus. I mean, you just saw them engage in a full ruckus encounter with the Minnesota Wild. This is a team that tends to get in some wild, high-scoring games. And while there are all sorts of point prop parlays available, I think just a nice straight bet in this game is a Jack Hughes assist coming in at plus 115. That's what the Luke Hughes assist is coming in at. When you see Jack Hughes' assist price match Luke Hughes, yeah, I think you take that one. So you give me that Jack Hughes assist. And if you want, you could easily add the Jesper Bratt point on top of that, which should get you right around plus 200, if not better. I like those combos right there. Now I'll end with a little something for the pizzeria crowd, because I know, regardless, doesn't matter. Like, come on, I don't want to do the thing that's going to make me money. Forget about all that stuff. I just want to hear who's going to win, and I want to hear you try to predict an upset. That's what we're here for. I will say this, looking at this slate, many have the makings of a money line parlay screwer. It's a little more difficult in the NHL to kind of sniff them out than it is in the NFL, but I see some prime candidates. I'm going to try to nail 2 out of 3 huge potential rats on this slate. So firstly, if I need, donkey line or you're not getting in, I'm going to go with who I went with on opening night, or I guess it was the second night, but I'm going to go with Toronto in home and homes. When home team wins game 1 at home, I always like that other team coming home for the second one, especially when it's like, Toronto's definitely better than Detroit, but this isn't like Edmonton and the Sharks, because it doesn't really apply in situations like that. But it's right in that where the inferior team won the first game at home. I always like taking the superior team if I have to. I don't bet donkey lines, but if I had to, I would go with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Andy, it's like minus 170. Yeah, I know, I'm not betting it. I'm just telling you from a hockey perspective who I think is going to win. So now let me at least try to say a couple of potential rats. I see 3. I'm like, whoa. That's going to cause someone some trouble. And who knows, if you're watching this in the afternoon, this game might be done, and this might, I'm going to go backwards so you can't have an early laugh. At least you have to wait till the end. I'm going to go backwards and start with that whole home and home thing I talked about, the Florida Panthers. Now, it's not a true home and home because they had a game weaseled in the middle. Great win for them, by the way, over Ottawa, who was playing well. But they obviously handled Philadelphia rather easily before that. Now they're going to Philadelphia. Florida had 3 straight home games to open up the year. I mean, early season Florida on the road. I'm unmotivated thinking about watching it. I can only imagine playing it after going back-to-back Stanley Cups. So now they take you seriously, right? There's no Kachuk. There's no Barkov. It's like, whoa, they just came out 3 straight wins. This is still Florida. So now there's just no headlines. There's no, are they going to do it? So they could easily walk into Philadelphia and take an easy loss. Is this Philadelphia's first home game? I think it is. they could easily lose this game. The Florida Panthers can. So that's potential rat number one. Potential rat number two, and this is not because I'm a fan. I can assure you this. Nobody looks worse than the Islanders, and I'm thrilled about it because this is a great year to have a good draft pick, and we're going to be... Anyway, regardless, I never seen a team who's good unable to win in a building like these damn Jets on Long Island. This team always struggles there. I don't have a good reason why. They should win this game. They just had a great win over the Kings. They lost game one against Dallas, but had a furious comeback, played well late. But you got to remember, some of these teams from West traveling East, and then it's an early game. You know, the inner clock and all that stuff. It's in the morning. They can get off to a slow start. I think the Islanders, not because I'm an Isles fan, but because this is a spot where the Winnipeg Jets lose so frequently, and then the whole time difference. And also, who's getting it up for a 4 in Long Island, because that's what the Winnipeg Jets are going to have to do. An early 4 day drinking in Long Island? I don't think so. And then lastly, same type of thing with Colorado. What is it going to be? 10:30 a.m. in their inner clock when that game starts, and you have Buffalo, just the absolute disgrace. 1 goal in 2 games. Everyone's going to be piling on those point props, piling on that Colorado money line, and then watch Buffalo easily have their best game of the year, shut them out. Those are the 3 rats I smell. So we will see how they go. If I have to pick 3 upsets, it would be Buffalo, the Islanders, the Flyers, and you can even throw the Blackhawks in there at home against the Canadiens if you want to call that an upset. Many potential home dog rats on this slate, not to sound too much like an NFL pick giver, but that's kind of what I'm feeling with some of these games. Hey, look, that's what I have for you on Indigenous Canadian Thanksgiving in this house. Columbus is a hero holiday. I hope you enjoyed everything, and if you enjoyed this, you want to know what you can do? You can like the video, you can comment on the video, and even more so, you can become a minority owner of this show. You can support everything you see on the channel, because as you know, I'm beholden to a small, finite group of people where so many of my picks are catered toward, and that is the Patreon folk, the supporters of this channel. When you hear me say, oh, we had 2 winning days, we had 5 winning days, when I say we, just read the comments. Most of the people are from the Patreon, and what you see here is a subset of those line combos that I give out on there. So if you guys want that, that's available over at the Patreon. If not, no worries. I have a lot of people over there, so I'm almost rather content at the moment. So if you can just like, comment, subscribe, click that hype if you're in the mood, and I will be back with you tomorrow for a Tuesday non-holiday round of NHL Sniffs. Take it easy.